Okay, where do I even begin with this one? First of all, shout out to my friend, you know who you are, for introducing me to this book. I may or may not have finished this book in 4 days. In my defense, I literally could not put it down. I don't know what it was. The characters, the writing, the setting, all of the above, everything and more. Like, this book was everything. So, I'm a lover of love. I love romance. I like writing romance. I like reading romance. Slow burns are the death of me, but whatever. It's a trilogy. I haven't read the other books because they're not fully out yet. I'm literally on the edge of my seat wanting to know what happens next, please. This book has had me in a chokehold for the last week. I don't even know. This is the fastest I've read a really long book because look at that. That's thick. Yeah, it's a really, really long book. But does it not let you put it down? Abso-fucking-lutely. Okay, point one. Premise of the story, for anyone who hasn't read it, also, this will contain spoilers, so, if you haven't read this book, fucking read it, but if you have, then just, whatever. So, the premise of the story is that there's ordinaries and elites. Peyton, who is one of the main characters, is an ordinary, posing to be a psychic, like an elite. And then Kai is a prince, training to be an enforcer that kills ordinaries because he's an elite, and his, like, ability is to, like, mimic other abilities, like, what's that bird that can do that? Parrot? No, there's another one. I don't know. She, like, saves him because he's being, attempted murdered at this one silencer, which is an elite that has the ability to sort of like muffle anyone else's ability, which is I think is a really cool concept, and I wish it was explored more. Maybe it will be in the next books. So she meets him that way, and he's just immediately smitten with her. I'm not even kidding. He is like immediately smitten, and it's the funniest thing ever because, mind you, this man has killed so many people, and all it takes is for him to be painted, and then everything changes. Like, bro. Which, you know, okay. Because she saved him, the town votes her to do these, like, trials with these other people, and the trials, it's not really explained that much, but I want to say the trials are, like, showing off their powers, but like that's not really what they are because they're more of entertainment. So think the Hunger Games, but also not the Hunger Games because it's not like encouraged, it's not like required to kill people, but like, you know, I don't really know what the point of them is. It could have been explored, it could have been dived deeper into, but whatevs. So Kai is this my god, I want to talk about characters now. We're gonna start with Kai. No, you know what? No, we're not. We're gonna start with Peyton. So Peyton is one of the main characters. She's an ordinary. So Peyton's character, I want to say, it's not like, there's not a whole lot to really talk about, honestly. Like, you know, you got all the cliches, short, silver hair, blue eyes. That being my only critique, that's not my only critique, but that being one of my only critiques is saying a lot about this book. It's really fucking good. It's so good that the only critique people have on it is the character descriptions. I'm just sort of sick of, like, silver hair, because what the fuck does that mean? Do you mean, like, genuine silver hair, or do you mean blonde, or I don't know, like, what is silver hair? And I do see, there's a, you can tell I don't really care for Peyton. You know, her dad got killed. She watched her dad get killed when she was, I don't know, 15? I want to say 15 or 16. It's not really revealed what their ages are, except for, like, Jax, which is one of the side characters, and he's 15. You know, because her dad has, like, taught her whole life how to, like, read people because she's posing to be a psychic. She's not actually a psychic. She's an ordinary, but no one's supposed to know that because they will kill her if they know. She has a best friend, and her best friend is, again, another cliche of bubbly, 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 which wasn't interesting to read at all, and I wasn't really sad when she died, honestly. I'm kidding. That's a joke. I cried. I don't think I was really crying because she died. I was crying more because Peyton was losing her best friend, not because her best friend was dying, which is kind of weird, but I don't know. She just didn't really have enough screen time. She didn't have enough page time, enough scenes for me to be really attached to her. I didn't know anything about her other than bubbly and likes to sew and super friendly, and that's about it. Anywho, so, you know, that was the only really reason why I cried about that scene, but honestly, like, Peyton, her dynamic with Kai is really nice. Her dynamic with anyone else is basically like, I'm tough, I swear. I don't like how she kind of just falls flat sometimes, and I'm like, maybe I'm just not reading into it enough, but like, I really didn't see much character development at all with her. Like, with Kai, you can really see it, and I'm gonna get into Kai because there's so much to talk about with Kai. But, like, with Peyton, I didn't see enough, like, character development. There wasn't, like, a whole lot changing about her. Like, the only really, like, interesting thing about her was, like, her claustrophobia. Like, it would have been nice if, like, you know, it connected to when her father died. Like, then again, I don't know how that would work, but, like, maybe, like, after her father died, she went and hid in a closet, but then the walls felt like they were closing around her, and then, you know, she's associated, like, that, like, closing feeling that, like, I'm trapped with her father's death, which would make sense, but it's really just kind of, like, there. I don't know, it felt like she was missing something, and maybe that's gonna be explored in further books, because it is a trilogy, and this is only the first book. Like, she was a thief, really skilled with thievery and stoof. It's not that I didn't like her, because she had her sassy moments, like this one time. This one thing with Blair. Okay, Blair was a bitch. I didn't like Blair. I think she died. I don't know. But, oh my god, this one scene where it was funny. She was like, I would say I'm happy to see you alive, but apparently I'm a bad liar, so I wouldn't even. And I did feel, like, bad for her at the end, because, you know, she's lost everything at this point. She's lost the person she loves, or finally admits she loves. She's, like, lost her best friend. She's, yeah, she's, like, starting off from, like, rock bottom again, which was sad. And and the final, like, line that really was like, ugh, was the line where, she, like, notices that blood's running down her arm, and she goes, it's just honey. Like, in the first chapter where she thinks it's blood, but it's actually honey, but she's trying to convince herself of the opposite this time, and it's actually really good writing. Oh my god, that actually had me in tears. Like, maybe that will be explored in further books, and I will probably review all of them, because this trilogy has me in the chokehold right now. So, until July. But now on to Pi. That rhymed. Wait, not Pi, Kai. Pi is their ship name. Okay, Kai. Let me just talk about Kai, because his character, I think, was the best character in the entire book, and it's not only because I think he's hot, but also because he is, because, his character was just written so well, and I could just, like, feel the love the author, like, just poured into him, and I wish she'd done the same for Peyton, but, like, I don't know. He's basically a murderer for the king. Here's some context with Kai. He has been tortured his entire life, used, abused, etc., all of you can imagine, and since his power as an elite is, like, using other people's powers, but you have to train with other people's powers, so, like, you know, the stakes are high with him, and he's had to, like, especially with the healer ability, that really, when that was revealed, I was like, oh my god. Because could you imagine, with training to be a healer, he had to cut open his arm and re-stitch it with the healer ability several thousand times before he got it right. And the fact, like, oh my god, because of all this trauma, because of all this just weight on his shoulders, he builds these, like, masks for himself. And they're supposed to filter out his negative emotions and just make him seem either cool or collected or, like, witty and, like flirty and stuff. And oh my god, it works so well for him. I love him so much. He meets Peyton, and he's like, oh, she's pretty. You know, and a part of his ability is that he can sense other people's abilities, but since Peyton doesn't have one, he's like, oh, why can't I sense anything with her? And she convinces him, she's like, oh, it's because I'm a psychic, and, my ability is weak, and I can block out your mind thing with my mind thing. Ha, don't report me or kill me. Ha. When he meets her, like, it's sort of, like, indifferent. He's like, oh, this is nothing. I'm never gonna see her again. And then she's, put into the trials, and he's like, oh, shit. Oh, shit, I'm gonna see her again. The more he's around Peyton, the more his mask sorts to, like, crack a little bit. You know, like, oh my god, those scenes are beautifully crafted. Chef's kiss to that writing. You know, the more he grows to care about Peyton, the more his mask, like, falls. And then there's this scene where, like, you really see it fall, where Peyton is, like, badly injured, like, she is dying. And he finds her like that, and oh my god, I love that scene. So, and he's like, oh shit! And, like, you can see the panic, you can see, like, the, because, like, as you can imagine, it was kind of, like, interesting at first, because I was like, oh, it's a murderer worried that someone's gonna die. And he's, like, begging her to, like, stay with me. I love that trope so fucking much, the stay with me, damn it. Mind you, he's, like, really freaking flirty with her, but, like, deep down, you can see it from his perspective, because it's dual POV, which I really fucking love with romance books. When it's dual POV, you can see each of their perspectives, and, like, I love it. You can see his perspective, like, he's genuinely, like, scared for her, like, he's genuinely, like, terrified for her. One of the funniest lines in the entire book was, like, I swear if you die, I'm gonna kill you. And then he's faced with Peyton sort of rejecting her feelings for him, and he knows she likes him, because it's really fucking obvious, you know. And I think what was really interesting with this character was that scene where he's having a nightmare, and Peyton comes to comfort him because the nightmare was about her dying, and he is just like, will you stay with me? And she's like, hesitant at first, and it's told from her perspective. And then she, like, stays, and he's, like, surprised, and she's like, oh, he doesn't expect me to stay. He expects everyone to leave. He expects everyone to leave him. And I resonated with that so much. I guess he's sort of, like, he builds up these walls to, like, prevent anyone from, like, leaving the true him, which I actually relate to I relate that character to another character that's completely different. Well, not completely, but, like, I think that was what sort of inspired his character, to be honest. You know, Angel Dust from Hazbin Hotel, you know, how he, like, builds up this, like, flirty, like, persona of him. They're not leaving him, they're leaving the version of himself that, you know, he just puts on so that he doesn't get hurt. And oh my god, I love that psychology so much. You know, that was Kai, and I love him. Do I see what he sees in Peyton? Not yet, but maybe with the next books I will. Let me talk about that ending. Oh my god. So in the ending, Peyton is with the Resistance, and Kai, and then she kills the king, which is Kai and Kit's, oh my god, I haven't talked about Kit. Let's talk about Kit. So Kit was the most annoying character in this entire book, mainly because I thought this whole thing was going to be a love triangle, and I was so scared of it being a love triangle. I was like, please, for the love of God, don't be a love triangle, especially with brothers, because it never ends good. Sometimes you're pretty, sometimes you're pretty. I was glad it wasn't a love, or he wasn't, like, a love interest, to be honest. Was he framed that way? Absolutely, but was Peyton really interested in him? No. And I like that she feels guilty about, like, guilty about, like, betraying him, basically, because, you know, even though she's not, like, into him, she doesn't really, she cares, even though, you know, it's what has to be done, and she's trying to, like, talk herself into it, which I think is good for her character, good for making me like her character, because I really don't. Okay, it's not that I don't like his character, I don't like him. He starts off as this, like, friendly goof, like, this, like, aloof little shithead. He ended as a, mindless best. I don't think he knows what he wants to do with the kingdom. I don't think he's ready to rule at all, and I think it's really kind of good for his character development for him to be in that position so early, because, you know, he wasn't expecting his dad to die because Peyton killed him. Especially not Peyton to kill him. He was not expecting that. I just didn't like him. And I don't think we're supposed to like him, because I want to say he's going to be the main antagonist in the next book, because I'm predicting that. So the ending. The ending was that there was the final trial. The final trial ended with Andina being killed. Then the resistance comes in, and the fight ensues, because the resistance did what they did really stupidly. Like, they should have done that a bit differently and not threatened the lives of the princes, for the love of Christ. Peyton is fighting the king, which is Kai and Kit's father. She almost dies, but then is able to kill him. And then she's trying to escape. Kai throws a knife at her, but misses on purpose because he's Kai. He's like, "What have you done to me? Why can't I kill you? You have betrayed us all. Why can't I kill you? What is wrong with me?" And then he's like, "Just go, because once I find you again, I am going to find the courage to kill you." And oh my god, that ending was like, ugh. Because I was so attached to Pi. I was so attached to Pi. Which is a ship name for them. I love Pi. I loved all of their little cute scenes, and I didn't expect Kai to whip out that one-liner. Holy crap. So, yeah, that's my very unhinged and unscripted thoughts about, Powerless. Read this book.